What are some of the things you have demonstrated in the meantime that weren't really the big thing you wanted? In the Science of Mind textbook, our founder, Dr. Holmes, writes, "Our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which of itself is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite. So it is not a question of its willingness or its ability. It is entirely a question of our own receptivity. We have to bring our receptivity in line with our desired good and keep it there. If you want to be CEO, demonstrate it. If you want vibrant health, demonstrate it. If you want your dream home, demonstrate it. If you want the perfect relationship, demonstrate it. Whatever you desire, don't hold back, don't curtail it, don't demonstrate something else of lesser value to you in the meantime. Demonstrate the thing you want. Divine law never ever compromises. And knowing this, neither should we. We don't have to hold back because law always says yes, and it doesn't put a limit on what it says yes to. Now, this is easy for us to think about, and it's kind of fun to talk about. But how do we actually go about walking our talk? Well, I have devised a simple 7-step approach to doing this right. And 7 might sound like a lot, but think about it this way. There's one for each day of the week. If you start tomorrow, by next Sunday, you'll have everything you want. How great is that? The first one's easy because we can all do this part. Define your vision. Articulate the thing you want. Describe it in vivid detail to yourself and to your practitioner. Embellish it. Don't hold back. Be flowery in your language. Get it all in there. Whatever you want, define it, describe it. Okay? That one's easy. The second one is see yourself in the picture. I love the story of the guy who wants to demonstrate a red Maserati. And he can see it in his mind. And he can see it in his garage. And he imagines walking into the garage every morning and admiring this magnificent piece of machinery. And occasionally even gently buffing it with a chamois. It's beautiful, and he is so thrilled. 3 weeks go by. And the phone rings. It's his neighbor across the street, and she says, "Hey, Bob, I noticed your garage is still empty. Are you interested in renting it?" And he said, "I don't know. Why?" She said, "I just bought a red Maserati, and I need a place to park it." What happened there? He saw the car in his garage, but he didn't see himself in the car. We have to see ourselves in our vision. So as we are embellishing and describing and defining vividly, let's put ourselves right in the middle of that vision. We have to put ourselves in it. Otherwise, all that good manifests somewhere else for somebody else, or maybe tangentially in our experience, but we want the whole thing for ourselves. Step 3 is align with a possibility. If we don't align with a possibility, our desired good has no relevance in our thought or our experience. And relevance is really important. When my sister and I were children, my mother would try to control our behavior with threats. That's my mom right there, toward the back row. I'm telling all our family secrets. One of her favorite threats was, "I'm going to pulverize you." Now, when we were very young, we didn't know what that meant, so it had no relevance. When we got old enough to understand what it meant, it wasn't necessarily relevant because she didn't really have a way to do that. And then when we were teenagers, she bought a Vitamix. And the threat became imminent. Because as you know, a Vitamix will pulverize just about anything. So we need to align with the possibility so that our vision has relevance in our world, in our thought. Let me give you some real examples. If you envision vibrant health, but you're smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day and eating nothing but junk food, you're not aligned with the possibility. If your vision is increased financial abundance and you're in the casino night after night gambling all your money away, if you win, that's one thing. But if you're losing time after time, you're not aligned with the possibility. Therefore, what you say you want has no actual relevance in your thought or your experience. Aligning with a possibility means that we think, speak, and act in ways that support our desired demonstration. This will be different for every single person. What works for me is not the same thing that will work for you. But much of what is required will be pretty obvious. Fill out a job application, meet new people, eat more vegetables, take a walk around the block. Those parts are easy. They come to us very clearly. But there are other parts that are less obvious. This is where we have to rely on our intuition, which is step 4. Trust your intuition. How many of you heed the still small voice inside? Yeah. Sometimes? Does anyone do it 100%? No. But most of the time, or sometimes. You know, a few weeks back we were having those terrible, terrible rainstorms, and I was driving home on a Wednesday from the center in pouring rain, and it actually hailed twice on the way home, and I don't think I've experienced hail before in California. And I wanted to stop by my mom's house because I have to go right by her street to get home. But I didn't want to get out in the rain. It was pouring, it was coming down in sheets, and it was hailing. But this voice kept saying, you know, go by Mom's, stop by Mom's. But I didn't do it. I passed right by her street, went through my gate, continued up the hill, all the while thinking, I really want to go, but I don't want to get out in the rain. So I'm about 2 blocks from my house, and this flock of turkeys is descending to land across the street, far enough away that I could safely slow down and come to a stop. I didn't want to hit any of them. And as I started to accelerate again, this huge tom broadsided me on the passenger side, and it shook my neck. It gave me an instant headache. I was afraid I had killed it just sitting there. It was very traumatic. And as I started to move toward home, I realized if I had stopped at my mom's, that wouldn't have happened. So I pulled into the garage, thereby not getting rained on, walk into the house. When I checked the messages, my mother had left one that said, stop by on your way home from the center. I made homemade vegetable soup for Jay, and I think he'd really appreciate it on such a rainy day. So, now in the grand scheme of things, this is not that big of a deal. But it would have been lovely had I done that. I wouldn't have been attacked by a turkey, and my husband would have homemade vegetable soup. But what about the really significant things in life when we don't listen? So, intuition. What does Troward say about that? Any Troward fans out there? In the Edinburgh Lectures, in his lesson on intuition, he states, we can assign no limit to the subjective mind's power of perception. What is subjective mind? It's that part of us that is our connection to divine mind.